the best thing is have such a strong belief in yourself that you can quiet out all the outside noise, because you're gonna need that on every step of the way. You know, there are people that are projecting their fears and their shortcomings and failures on you. And you have to be very careful, you know, with that. People telling you can't do that. Why can't I? You know, because they may have tried, or they don't believe that they can do it. And it's not really about you, it's about what they feel and their fear inside. So you have to be strong enough and resilient to believe in whatever it is you're trying to do. And, you know, good luck with it. It's always good to compare yourself to people you look up to, right? Because you give yourself a high goal. You set high standards for yourself. And, you know, pretty much the way he lived his life and the parallels and how he affected culture is what I strive to do. You know, how he had a record label and he owned Reprise Records and he released Jimi Hendrix. Kanye West is my Jimi Hendrix. You know, my record label is Rockefeller. You know, just compare yourself to the greats. Set the bar really high. There's a knowing in being an artist. There's a knowing. You can't guess. You can't think. There's a knowing. You have to know that even if it doesn't work today, tomorrow, there's artists that I play that weren't popular at the time that I play more than I play current artists. Shuggie Otis, I suggest you just go look up Shuggie Otis. It was amazing. And at the time, it wasn't this hugely popular thing, but I think when it all said and done, we would play that music more than any other music, right? So you have to have this knowing that, okay, it may not work today, it may not work tomorrow, but this is the right thing and this is what I'm doing and this is what's feeding me. So that would be the best advice that I can give you, that knowing, just believe in what you're doing. And if you don't believe in it, then you're not doing it. You haven't figured out the thing that you do best yet. When you feel it and when you know, no one can tell you. You only have to be right once. In my beginning, you know, I just lived such a rich life, you know, a full life. You know, that, you know, my first album came out, I was 26, and I had seen so many things in the street. So my attitude was like, man, I've seen so much, and, you know, I don't have anything to prove. I know who I am. I'm a very self-aware person. You know, so when you're self-aware, even when you're dealing with someone's ego, you know when to allow it to, you allow their ego to live in its own space. You know, the problem is when you engage that energy, that's when there's a problem. If you engage the ego with your ego, then it's like, okay, now something has to happen. It could keep escalating to a level that can be irreversible. You know, but if you don't engage the ego, if you know how to manipulate or play around with the ego, and you give light back to darkness.
Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We were all meant to shine as children do. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others.
If you're new to the Impact Secret Podcast show, welcome to the family. To my existing family, big up as always. Thank you for joining the movement. On this podcast show, we shift the mindset through inspiration, motivation with a standing foundation of self-discipline. I am your respectful host, E.D. For all you smart and intelligent folks out there, look, that just simply means Ed. Now, you know the motto, you know the slogan, what we live by, what we rock on here. Bet on yourself. You won't win unless you get in the game and play. Bob Marley once said, and I wish he would have told me this, he said, you never know how strong you are until being strong is the only choice you have. Look here. If living means doing what you love to do, even if you have to fall to get back up, do it. You know what we do here. One question, two thought-provoking statements. First question, why can't I? Why can't I? First thought-provoking statement, be the hero of your story. Be the hero of your story. That was inspired by Antonio Allen. And the second thought-provoking statement, it's not fair. It's not fair. Today's episode is entitled Stop Waiting for a Permission Slip to Be Successful. Again, stop waiting for a permission slip to be successful. That was inspired by Glendon Cameron. Stop waiting for a permission slip to be successful. See, I don't know about you, and maybe I'm going to tell my age here. See, when I was in school, in high school, we had these things that when you told the teacher that, hey, either I have to go to the bathroom or I have to go to a location that was outside of the classroom, they would always say, well, let me write you a permission slip. And see, this permission slip, what it allowed you to do was to be able to roam. Okay, well, I roamed, maybe if we're going to keep it a buck, but it allowed you to travel in the compound of the actual school location without getting in trouble. You see, if you were stopped and someone stopped you and said, well, why are you in the hallway? You wouldn't have to say a word, just hand them this permission slip. See, the permission slip allowed you a right that other students did not have because they weren't granted or they weren't awarded this permission slip. See, family, today's show is something personal to me. And the reason why I said it's personal is because a lot of times I was told not to move forward. I was told that you're going to need permission to say some of the things you're going to say. I was told that I need permission in order to be great. What are you talking about, ED? I'm so glad that I have an intelligent audience. That's why I rock with you. See what I'm talking about is, family, is that you're being misguided a lot of times in life of being told what you can't do. See, it's easier to tell you what you can't do than what you can do. A lot of times what we want to do, family, is that we get so caught up in trying to be right all the time when Jay said you only need to be right one time. I remember, when I first did an episode on the permission slip, the episode was entitled The Permission Slip to Live Life, the permission slip to live life. And I was, when I was creating this episode here, what inspired it was, like I told you, Glendon Cameron. And I'm taking one of his courses, amazing content creator, amazing, business owner. I mean, I've learned a lot from him. I've anytime something he's put out, I've tried, I've actually purchased probably about 3 different, business and courses from him. But recently we had our webinar or whatever he hosted, for the people that purchased his recent course. And what really excited me, and the dopamine rush was contained, I'll say that, but I was still so super excited that I didn't hesitate. I didn't wait or what most people do, including myself. I know we're all not going to be honest here, so I'll speak for us, is that I procrastinated. But that day, which was yesterday, actually, he has something where he talked about, why are you waiting for permission to do something? You see, we will create all these fancy vision boards. We'll have the audacity to write down a task list, or matter of fact, I got one even better. We'll have a goal list, and then we'll say, hey, these are the things that I really want to achieve, but yet we won't get started. We won't take action. We won't move forward. See, the reason why is it a fear? Is it a fear that we can't do it? Is it a fear that what happens if we become great? Is it a fear that what if this thing really works and I have to make a tough decision? Or better yet, which is my favorite, is what happens when you find out the person that you was when you got started is someone different after the experience, meaning you grew, that meaning that you were able to develop growth through the process. See, that's what I get excited about learning, is the growth through the process. Yes, I love the goal. Yes, I want the award or what we're using to keep score, but what am I becoming? A lot of times, family, we miss that part because we're so laser focused on the actual end goal that we forget about the fun, or as I call it, the ride during our journey. See, when Jay said that, when he was like, "Stop trying to guess, just know, not think," that was me, family. See, I kept guessing, like, well, I wonder if this is, what they want to hear. I wonder if that will work. I wonder if I can even get on a mic and do this. See, I am still in training. I am developing my voice. I am consistently and constantly wanting to get better, and I know I need to get better because this is no longer about me. I know that I have a voice here, and man, and what gets me is the fact that there are so many amazing creators out there. There are so many people that I have come across or I've talked with, and I'm like, man, you should go ahead and do something with that. You should go ahead and create something. And do you know the number one thing that you will hear a lot out there? Because I can only tell you what I know, not what I think, because I was one of those persons. And I still have my areas of opportunities when I know that I should be doing something, i.e. still following my sneaker dream of putting together this whole sneaker collection, because I am, I love sneakers, don't judge me. That's just my little, thing I'm working through. But anyway, I digress. But what I'm saying is that the number one thing that I continue to hear from people that actually inspire me, because I'm looking at at a opportunity that they have if they build on that talent, if they put in the work, if they come on, for me, getting on this mic, more than 2 or 3 times a week because I'm working on my craft. But the number one thing that I would hear from them is time. And then when you unpack time, you really understand that it really is not about time. It's really about the ideology of believing, of having a self-worth, of believing that it's possible, believing that they can actually do it. And that's where a lot of people fall short. So you don't get a chance to hear from certain individuals that probably would be in the spaces of people that are currently in these places. But see, the difference between them and the people in the places is that they took, as Tony Robbins would say, massive action. See, when I decided to make a decision to say, you know what, let's do this podcasting thing, I started on Anchor. And starting on Anchor, I was like, once I started, doing it every day, and I would record any and everywhere. Cause see, the Anchor app, and I'm not promoting, I'm not getting anything back in return, but I want to tell you my story as far as the foundational principles. When I had that Anchor app, I would just record it and just send it out. There wasn't any excuses. I couldn't say, well, I don't have, the right microphone, or I don't have the right audio. You literally can put it on speaker and just record. And then once I understood that, I was like, hey, I kind of like this. Then I went and bought a mic. Mic cost $10. Stepped it up then. And then I was thinking, then the next step, I was thinking like, man, but what if I want to take this and put it somewhere else and want to do this? So how do I do that? So I started researching on that thing. See, a lot of times, family, we have, it's sort of like especially if you're analytical, you're an analytical thinker, or you're somebody that will plan, research. but you take no action because it's like it sounds good when you're actually thinking about doing it, but when you're actually in the fight, it's a whole different conversation. See, this is why I started studying speakers like Martin Luther King, because I was reading something where Martin Luther King would type out his notes. He would put together his whole sermon, his whole speech of what he was going to say. Then he'd take those notes, set them down, and then he'll get up in front of the mic. I said, that's me. Because a lot of times I find myself where I'll see speakers and they're reading off a transcript. I was like, man, I want to do that because it helped me with my thoughts and put them together. And I still have bullet points and things like that I look at that be like, okay, talk about that. But what I realize is that my end goal is to be able to write up a whole, whether it's a podcast, whether I'm speaking at an event, whatever that is, and then do like Martin Luther King and put my notes down. But because at that point, then I'll know it's not that I made it, is that I've finally mastered the skill of identifying my speaking. I don't want to say ability, but I will say the opportunity to not just be so focused on what I wrote out that I can't understand the feeling that I'm engaging from the audience. Now you say, well, how are you going to do that behind a mic? Well, I do it because when you start getting excited and another thought may come in and another thought may come in, but you have to realize that I like what Antonio Allen said. He said, you can't use old keys to open up new doors. Like that right there. He said, you can't use old keys to open up new doors. Have you ever either moved into an apartment or moved into a house and maybe you're moving from another location? Did you ever try to use your old keys and get into your new place? If it worked for you, then, I don't know how you did it, but it never works. So why do we, when we go into the rebuilding phase, or what I like to call the reset phase of saying, okay, this is what I decided to do. I got to change. I want to change a particular habit. I want to change the way that I'm doing things. I want to make a change. Why am I still going to use the old keys to get into this new state of mind, or to break these new limited beliefs that I have? See, they're all limited beliefs. See, a limited beliefs is basically simply stating that I don't believe enough in myself. I don't have the self-confidence first to get someone else to believe in me. For me, family, I don't know if it's either self-confidence or I'm just someone that is just, I don't know. I've looked at it over my time as well. Like I would be in school, and high school, middle school, college, and everything. I never had that fear of what they said the number one fear is public speaking. I look forward to engaging, and a lot of it was entertaining as well, because I was entertaining the class, because I was looking around and as the teacher was talking, and I was like, man, this is boring. This is not even engaging. And I said, well, let me see if I can ask a question and slip in a joke at the same time to see if we can kind of pick this thing up a little bit. And I started doing it more and more. And it got to a point one time, and I think I've shared this story with you, family, where I was at that time, in high school, they offered you driver's ed. And basically what you allowed to do is during certain days of the week, you'll be in the classroom learning about how to drive. And then certain days out the week, you'll actually be on the range. And some of my friends and I, we would make jokes. So we would call each other by our mother's name, and just to be funny and talk about, we'll ask a question. We'd be like, well, my mom was named D. We'd be like, well, so if D was driving at 30 miles per hour and the speed limit was 20 miles per hour, what would the likely be? And we would just do things like that, family, just to be funny, but yet still keep everyone engaged. Well, that kind of backfired on us, because all of our moms came in to the school that day. And when they came into the school, I don't know about you, but My mom was not happy. She said, well, son, I want to know where are these jokes getting you. See, I couldn't really say anything, but what made it even more funny is that I was at the front of the classroom, and normally I like to sit either in the middle or in the back of the classroom. But she said, no, son, see, what I want you to understand is that I need you at the front of the classroom. You see, the reason why I need you at the front is not that you are looking to get an award, but you have a closer opportunity to have a closer connection with the teacher. So we will be sitting up at the front. Let everybody else that want to sit back that's not here to learn anything, but yet and still, I still didn't do well in high school, but I excelled in college because I took those principles and carried it on. But I digress. So family, what I'm saying to you is that it's not fair that when you sit around and you wait on a sign. How many times have you waited on a sign to see if something was going to work? How many times have you waited on a sign to see if this was the right opportunity for you? And then you look up and you like, it's a decade then passed. And then you say, man, you know, I probably could have done this, or I probably could have done that. See, probablys are not going to get you nowhere in life, family. Trust me, I've tried them. They haven't worked for me. Like I understand the importance of taking action, and even though I know this, that's why I know it's a work in progress for me. And when, I also heard something too that what got me was I was watching the clip from this new series that's coming out called Swagger. I'm excited about that, and I really don't talk about TV shows or movies that much, but reason why this particular clip arrested my attention was the fact that it was something that was said, that it said the longer you wait to redeem yourself, the harder it becomes. I'll say that again. The longer you wait to redeem yourself, the harder it becomes. See, I realized for me that I couldn't wait any longer. A lot of times you would wait and, I was waiting and saying like, man, okay, maybe this will happen if, I go and read these books and, take this training course. But it wasn't happening. Yes, those are very important, but you need to take those principles, you need to take those tactics, you need to take those strategies, and you need to go apply them to the real world to see if they work. And that's why a lot of times you would see, I'll say me, a college student coming out and thinking that, man, I'm about to get this 6-figure, 7-figure, like I'm about to kill the game. And then they realize that it's so much to learn that wasn't taught in a standard education, as far as is that, yes, the principles was there, being able to listen, being able to understand and have critical thinking, but yet and still there's other parts and other movements where you have to adjust, you have to adapt, you have to understand to be flexible. This is why it's important to be the hero of your story. See, I am learning that now, that I have to be the hero of my story. I recently heard an interview as 50 Cent doing the whole BMF thing. And he was talking about in a clip where he said that, and I'll paraphrase because I don't want to destroy the clip, but he was saying that, if someone doesn't care about him, then why should he care about them? If they have bad intentions for him, why should why should he have good intentions for him? He said, I don't care. I really don't care about that, about them or whatnot. And not, I don't care, like, if that person or, that society, whatever that is, changes, that he wouldn't be willing. But a lot of times, family, we get so caught up in trying to impress upon people things that we really want them to be encouraged or excited about, but they could care less. And that's why I said, when, that quote, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. I agree. Why do you think I keep putting out episode after episode? I am trying to run laps around your favorite motivational speaker or your favorite because I think I want to be a self-disciplined speaker. We'll talk about that another day. But reason why I keep putting out so many episodes is because I know that I won't be able, I don't have a huge million dollar, not $1 million, but 1 million followers. I don't have even 100K followers. So how do I make up for that? I make up for it in practicing on my gift. I make up for it by actually honing my gift to a way where I'm ready at any point in time. If someone called me and said, hey, we have a speaking engagement, can you do a virtual, we just need to get these people excited. And I said, well, I just don't want to get someone excited just to get excited and they don't do anything. But I am preparing, what I'm doing is preparing my catalog to be able to speak to people, because one of my dreams is to be able to inspire the next generation of speakers, to inspire people that I don't even care if it's not, even if it's an older generation, to let them know it's not too late. Don't allow people to put labels on your life that, oh, it's too late, you missed that boat. And I believe that with YouTube, because I started YouTube 3 years ago and I finally started taking it serious this year. And, I'm still working on and tweaking on trying to understand it, but it has been really worth the ride. See, when you have that self-awareness and a strong belief in yourself that is possible, and it's possible up to you to make the decision to say, you know what, I'm not going to play small. Once I master one area and I feel like I'm comfortable and ready to move on, I'm not going to move on. I'm going to move on when I'm uncomfortable. I'll say that again. When I master an area and I feel like I'm comfortable to move on, I'm not going to move on. I'm going to move on when I'm uncomfortable. See, and being uncomfortable of the next step in this process, which I've been talking about, that really makes, that I know I have to do, that I have been hesitant, is the video piece of things. And I actually, this weekend, I started, moving things around, and so I can create the atmosphere for the video. So all I have to do is come in, turn the video camera on, boom, and get going. And then I was asking myself, I said, am I afraid of the camera? And I was like, no, I'm like, I really love it. But it's what is required of me. It's taking the video, recording it, and then posting it. And I was like, oh, you're doing it again. You're finding ways to get out of the situation. See, family, that self-talk, I don't care how successful you get. I don't care how rich you get. I don't care how wealthy you get. That self-talk is always going to be there. And you have to have the audacity to stand in front of self-talk and say, not today. Not today. Not today am I going to allow you to tell me what I can't do today. Not today. I'm not going to allow you to tell me that I'm tired. You're right. I may be tired. Probably am. I probably could pass out at any moment, but I have to do this. This is a calling upon my life. If I don't do this, somebody may miss out on something. See, family, when you start thinking like that, when you start projecting like that, it becomes no longer about you. See, I can't make people that, that I've had relationships with, that either, whether that person or myself decided to not, speak, or whatever that case is, I can't make anyone do anything. I can only control me. And in controlling me, I need to just focus on how can I be a better version of me? And I love what Jay was talking about, of setting the bar high, finding people that inspire you. Jay-Z is one of my favorite rappers. He's one of my favorite businessmen. He inspires me to push harder. He inspires me to say, you know what? I'm not going to make an excuse of where I came from. I'm not going to make an excuse of I don't have this resource or this particular connection. I'm not going to make an excuse of saying, well, you know what? My audience isn't as big as this particular creator or that creator. It doesn't matter, because as he said, right now they may be popping, but I'm on their heels. I am not giving up, nor am I giving in. I'm giving into the fact that if I want more out of me, if I want more out of this thing we call life, it requires something that is going to make me uncomfortable. It's going to require something of me that I haven't had to do before. It's going to require something of me that's going to make me and push me to dig deeper. And when and you know when you know that you're there and you in that zone, because even though you're tired, you still make the video. Even though you're tired, you still get up because you know you made a commitment. Even though you don't even want to move forward, you understand that you said that today was the day. So family, in closing, I'll say this. When you're working on your dream, working on that vision, and to quote Antonio Daniels and Antonio Allen, as well as I heard Tyler Perry say this, start working on building your own table. See, when you start building your own table, it sort of kind of reminds me of, I remember I had how am I going to say this? Okay, I'll just say it. I remember I had a situation. When someone starts off, say I got a situation. No, I had a friend in which he had an opportunity to get a vehicle, and because he got that vehicle, nobody else in our crew didn't have a vehicle, so we depended on him. And there was times in which he didn't feel like picking us up, or at times he felt like, because I think it wasn't a big, like it was small, and I'm 6'5", and so you get a couple of us in there, it's a wrap. But what I understood is I went to my mother and I was like, Mom, this is, I'm tired of counting and waiting on people to I want to drive too, and wanting to borrow your car and things like that. And she was like, how bad do you want a car? I said, I want it really bad. So she said, well, what are you going to do? I said, well, I'll go out here and get a job. And at this time I'm 15, 16, but I've been working previously. So I went and got a job. And when I tell you, family, I worked my butt off. And and then I got a cash car. I think it was under $1,000, and my first car, and my grandma gave me, she actually chipped in, I think she chipped in like $500, and I was like, oh, that's a blessing. So, I felt that I was winning, but when I looked at it, it was because I was tired of eating at someone's table that I was like, I need to make my own table. And my mom challenged me and she said, well, what are you going to do about it? Well, I took immediate action, went out and found, matter of fact, I found that job so fast. I found that job so fast that it even shocked her. She was like, "What? How did you?" I said, "Mom, all you had to do was tell me that it was possible. All you had to do was tell me that if you're tired of feeling that way, if you're tired of being treated that way, don't sit back and wait. Don't sit and hope that something is going to change. You need to get off your butt and make it happen. And you have the capability. You have the opportunity to go and do it." See, family, a lot of times we have the capability, the opportunity. We have the direction. We know the direction. Matter of fact, you probably could tell somebody the direction, yet we are nervous. Yet, matter of fact, I'm just going to keep it bold. We are fearful of what the outcome is going to be. But see, family, either way, you're going to be right. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's show. This has been your boy ED. Until next time. Peace.